Hi, everyone, and welcome to week 4 of our Energy Club. This is all about blood sugar and sleep. So, first of all, I want to remind everyone that some of the things we're working on help blood sugar quickly, and some things work over time. Sleep works quickly in both directions, actually, meaning when we lose sleep one night, it's harder to manage our blood sugar the very next day. So, I don't know if you've noticed after a poor night's sleep, you feel more snacky the next day. That is because of this relationship. And on the other side of the coin, when we have wonky blood sugar that's having high spikes during the day, for any reason, it can make sleep challenging during the night because it's more likely to dip lower during the night when it's big spikes and dips during the day. So, improving sleep will improve blood sugar, and improving blood sugar will improve sleep. And this definitely becomes more of an issue for women in midlife as sleep starts to get more challenging with fluctuating progesterone and estrogen. So let's dig in. Okay, I want to introduce you to your sleep wave or remind you if you've already learned this, because this is really, really important. So, we want to quote unquote catch our sleep wave to get the best night's sleep. And in order to do that, these hormones all have to come into balance. Okay. So, you can see on the chart here, we have the axis of the daytime on the bottom. So, at 6 a.m., let's start with cortisol. Cortisol should be really, really high if our circadian rhythm and our adrenals are working well. And then during the day, cortisol slowly drops. That's normal. And this is about 10 p.m. A little bit different for everyone, of course. And then during the day, when we wake up, start over here at 6 a.m., melatonin should be low and then slowly rising all day to its highest point right here around 10 p.m. And then we have insulin, right? It's going up and down all day. Certainly doesn't show all the nuances here. But then at night, so hopefully we've eaten dinner, you know, around 7 p.m. or earlier, at least 3 hours before bed. And then insulin slowly comes down and then stays level all night. So that is a perfect world. This is our sleep wave. This is the part we want to catch when we're naturally tired, when cortisol is naturally low and insulin is stable because we are taking all the right steps to balance our blood sugar and insulin. So when this happens, we sleep well. We fall asleep, we stay asleep, and we wake up energized with cortisol high. So this is all of the little things we're working on are helping this hormonal sleep wave be perfect for us. Okay, and sleep often changes in midlife, and it's for a few different reasons. First of all, the decline in estrogen and progesterone alter our neurotransmitters. So things like GABA and serotonin, less of those create lighter and more fragmented sleep. Also, cortisol rhythms shift with changing estrogen and progesterone, which can make it hard to fall asleep or make early waking happen more often. Hot flashes, night sweats, of course, those can disrupt our sleep. And then there's just estrogen decreasing with the impact that has on our blood sugar, causing our blood sugar to be more wonky. We are less sensitive to insulin and more sensitive to carbohydrates with that decreasing estrogen. So this really just creates this vicious cycle, right? So poor sleep creates higher fasting glucose, increased insulin resistance, increased cravings and appetite the next day. So, more of that roller coaster, which then in turn can create worse sleep and more nighttime wakings, and so on and so on. So on and so forth. But don't worry, you're here. The changes we are making will help this system. So, you are doing all the right things if you are doing your recommended habit for the week or working your way through the habit list. And again, those are just opportunities. We don't have to stress over all of them. They each are an opportunity that we have to impact our blood sugar. Okay, so what's happening with sleep and blood sugar? A few different things. First of all, if we have an evening blood sugar spike, it can disrupt our sleep. So when you eat a dinner high in carbohydrates or sugar, or if you're drinking alcohol or have desserts or even things like chips, your blood sugar rises sharply. And as your blood sugar drops fast, your body perceives this as a stressful event, and your adrenaline kicks in and cortisol is released in order to bring glucose back up. So in result, you might be ready for bed, but you might be feeling wired and restless and unable to fall asleep because of the timing. So, also on sort of the same note, eating close to bed, like if you eat, a half hour right before you're going to bed, it can keep your heart rate elevated, which interrupts our deep sleep. So we don't get the quality of sleep. So instead, again, we want to have that meal, if we can, 3 hours before we fall asleep. And we want to have loads of fiber, loads of protein, and the healthy fat to slow down the blood sugar spike so that the crash isn't as big. The next thing is, if we're not metabolically flexible, you may be woken up at 2 or 3 a.m. with anxiety or thinking you have to go to the bathroom. But during this time, we're in a fasted state and our body is meant to handle this. But if we have dysregulated blood sugar during the day, the system doesn't work. And during that time, our blood sugar can dip super low. And then again, our cortisol surges as we try to bring that blood sugar up. All the things we're doing are going to help kick us into fat burning mode or keep that glucose spike during the night smaller so that our adrenals don't wake us up. One thing that really could help if you are having this problem, if you are waking up at 2 or 3 a.m. and are curious if it's blood sugar, is trying something called, I'm using quotes, a protein pill. So this can be a small snack right before bed, which obviously this isn't optimal, but it can serve as a crutch to help us as our blood sugar system comes back into balance and we become better at burning fat. So if you suspect your blood sugar is keeping you up at night, try a small protein pill before bed. What this means is a tiny snack, like the in the littlest part of your palm. So it could be a slice of turkey, it could be a chunk of salmon, it could be a few pumpkin seeds, pumpkin butter, pistachio butter. So a great protein and a little bit of fat to help keep your blood sugar balanced during the night. A lot of people, a lot of women I work with really find this can be helpful as again, just a temporary tool while the system comes back into balance. And then finally, insulin resistance, which any of us can have. I had this 6 years ago when I started using a glucose monitor. I was super surprised. Um, but that alone can cause chronic inflammation, disrupted melatonin, and disrupted circadian rhythm through different mechanisms. But again, all the things we're doing are going to help prevent these things from happening so that we sleep better through the night. Our blood sugar is steady and all is good. Okay, so finally, what do? We want to work on optimizing that sleep wave that I showed you. And then we try to catch the wave at the perfect point so we fall asleep and stay asleep. We don't want to push through later because then we won't have melatonin super high helping us. And cortisol will start to rise, and that will also make it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. And then all the things we're doing together will help stabilize insulin at night so that we sleep better. And those things include eating 3 hours before bed, having a great protein rich breakfast within 2 hours of waking, loading up on that fat fiber protein balance, or even trying that sleep pill if you need it for a while. Getting magnesium before bed is helpful. The vinegar during the day will help reduce those blood sugar spikes. And then we could all use to reevaluate our relationship with coffee or alcohol, which we can speak more into if you guys are interested. And then lifestyle wise, relaxation during the day to help our cortisol, the stress hormone, building muscle, probably one of the most powerful things we can do in midlife to help with blood sugar, keeping our nights dark, keeping our mornings bright. These are just opportunities that we have to help balance our blood sugar and catch our sleep wave and sleep well through the night. Also, some women find hormone replacement therapy really helps with sleep if things get really challenging. So, that is always a consideration as well in midlife. So that's it this week. Blood sugar and sleep are very closely connected. If you're curious and you're not sleeping well, you could track what you're eating the day before and see if maybe that had something to do with it. You could try the CGM. That'll tell you what your blood sugar is doing at night. You can try the protein pill, but don't stress out. All the things we're doing, all the steps we're taking will help with sleep, will help with that insulin sensitivity and metabolic flexibility. So keep working through your list of opportunities at a pace that feels good for you. The one habit this week was trying to eat 3 hours before bed. See how that feels for you and your body. Reach out on the message board with questions. Come to office hours. Text me anytime on the message board and ask your personal questions if that's better for you. I'm around to help. All right. Good job, everyone.